And then turn on AI companion.
Okay,
What's that for the note taker?
yeah.
Oh, no, you gotta go to the apps.
Oh,
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, you know better than us.
Go to app. And then in apps, you're gonna see note taker AI.
okay.
Then
Okay.
That's fine. I mean, it does its own thing, right?
yeah, that's nothing.
Okay, so then it's going right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just exit out. Okay,
Okay, thank you for bearing with us, everyone. We do have quorum. We have 5 members here in attendance. And we have Ted
Oh, yeah.
virtually, and Vanessa's here. Hi, Vanessa, how are you? We just want to let you guys know, April Adams is, oh, you just gotta hit. April Adams was recently appointed co-chair of this committee. April, say hello.
hey y'all, hi. Wish me luck, guys. I am very excited to be the co-chair of this fabulous committee, especially filling in for someone that I truly admired, who was a true public servant, just community advocate, and miss Carolyn every day. But I know I'll never fill her shoes, but I'll definitely try my best. So thank y'all.
Well, thank you, April, for stepping up. So we do have a big agenda today. Members, it's on the table. Committee meeting notes are on the Google Drive, so if you have access to the Google Drive, you can look on there. I'm trying to get everything on the Google Drive. So if you want to look at past stuff, go there. If you want to look at current stuff, go there. There's the liquor license applications, dining out applications, there's street naming applications are there. Our committee meeting notes, our agendas, it's there. So hopefully you have access. If you don't have access, let me know.
I think one of the things I think might be helpful, do you have a parent folder with all those in it?
I do. Well, so I have a parent folder for CB9,
Okay,
but I have folders within there for exec board, because I'm
right,
the secretary,
right,
and then also general board. Which other people are a part of.
right.
With UST, I've tried to put a folder for UST. There are multiple folders for UST.
Right, can we have a parent UST folder?
Yeah, I
And
can do
then we
that.
have all of them in there,
Sure.
right?
I can
Cause
do that.
I kept going back and forth, now I have them all, but when I was looking for something before toggling before, I feel like that would be easier, and then that's like just the parent one, and then we have all the
I'll do that.
subfolders.
I'll do
Awesome,
that.
thank you so
Yeah,
much.
I'll do that. Okay. And you guys should all have editor access. So if you need to put something in there, if you need to print something out, need to edit something.
It's amazing, thank you.
Yeah. So hopefully April and I we'll meet up and kind of discuss these things. All right, so so we did attendance. I'm gonna call the meeting to order. I should have done it a couple minutes ago. I'll just say 6:37. We called it to order. We do have quorum and the agenda. Hopefully you all saw the agenda. You probably saw it was pretty lengthy. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda?
Motion to adopt the agenda.
Okay,
Second.
okay, Felipe and April, any objections to the agenda? Okay, I'll continue. The next item is adopting the minutes from our meeting from March 6th. Those minutes are in the Google Drive. I do have a copy here if someone wants to look at them. They're about 5 pages long. But if you need to look at them, they're here. I'll put them there, but they're in the Google Drive. If you think it would be helpful, I can also send them out. I can just line copy you guys when I send them to Utah and Hikeel.
Either way, I mean, if they're in the folder, I
Yeah,
love that.
they're in the folder.
I love that we can review stuff like prior, that way we come to the meeting prepared as opposed to like trying to figure it all out.
Okay, great.
Me personally.
So I would need a motion to adopt the minutes. Motion made by Vanessa. Second.
With regard to that, I have to ask that I have that statement be withheld because I cannot agree to that.
Okay. I'll put you down. I'll note that, Ted. Thank you. All right, we will now go to our presentations and updates. We have Jess here. She's the project manager from Harlem One Stop. Jess, do you hear me? Oh, Jen, sorry. Jen,
Hi, sorry, I was looking for the agenda. If anyone could put it in the chat, I know, but thank you. Hi. Can you hear me? Can I introduce myself?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just distracted. Hi, my name's Jennifer Beiser. Thank you so much for allowing me to present. Yes, I'm the project manager at Harlem One Stop. In October, we received a grant from New York City Small Business Services. Specifically a merchant organizing grant. And we got to work then. Of course, Ewan had done a lot of preliminary work over a number of years, being very well connected in the business community, but also having done uh, weekend walks and a lot of community development work, of course, but also with the business community. So it's been going very well. We're off to a good start. Our focus is on, meeting with business owners, finding out, which we quickly did, the desire and openness and interest in working as a group, as a collective and to be a mutually supportive group. And as I'm sure you all know the community very well, Hamilton Heights business owners, there are a lot of longstanding business owners with already good relationships who are very receptive to having some support in being an organized group. So we've had 5 meetings. Our outreach has been extensive and, of course, ongoing conversations with business owners and doing some projects around our project goals that we proposed, particularly, getting resources that are available to the business owners, particularly from the city. And we are a contractor, with the city. So from that perspective, we, kind of walked into some really good relationships with great service providers at SBS and, of course, at New York City Business Solutions Center with Harlem Commonwealth and all those folks. So that's gone well. As a group, there was interest in talking with and connecting more so as a group with the precinct. And we've been thrilled at working with the 30th and meeting as a group with the precinct, with Officer Stumer, he's here, with Captain Rose and the gang, and they've come to a couple of the meetings and just really it's just a good working relationship already. We have been reaching out about transportation related issues as well. So when we proposed to the city and for our first phase of engaging with the business community, it's to look and try to focus on Amsterdam Avenue, which hadn't really been meeting as a group before. So in doing that, feelings of safety for the business owners as well as, of course, neighbors is an issue. It's dark along Amsterdam Avenue. So, we started, just with filing our 311s as as everyone does and reaching out. I see Lyle is here, so that's great. Reached out to him, and so are just kind of chipping away at getting things fixed. And we're hoping to also have a lighting study, which I believe our city council member has hopefully reached out to DOT about just getting a lighting study, which can maybe help us strategize about getting mid-block lighting, which is kind of a holy grail in the city, to have that mid-block lighting that's just right for the neighbors and for the pedestrians as well, with balancing that. But we hope to work on that and achieve that. But mostly the focus has been on, fostering a networking between the business owners through our merchant meetings. We have a WhatsApp group, and I'll throw up a slide with our QR code to that WhatsApp business group that communicates. We have a website, a newsletter, And I'm, on a personal note, I love this work. I've worked in this community for a long time. And but it's been a number of years since I've done specifically business organizing work. So um, Hamilton Heights, I'm in East Harlem, but Hamilton Heights is just absolutely a wonderful place. And with a really vibrant business sector again, but I'm talking to fans, right? So does anyone have questions?
Yeah, hi Jen, April Adams here.
Hi.
Do you mind just for some of our new members, talking about like what Harlem One Stop is
Oh,
specifically?
absolutely. Yeah. So Harlem One Stop is a nonprofit organization formed, I believe, in about 2006, maybe a little later, as an outgrowth of the West Harlem Preservation Organization, which, of course, was able to get historic districting in West Harlem and just really led the way with some of that community development work. But Harlem One Stop is a tourism organization, fostered on community economic development as a benefit and a partner in bringing visitors as well to the community. So as Harlem One Stop's first kind of project is, the really very popular and very effective Harlem One Stop website, which is a portal to events, particularly arts and culture related events in the community, very consistent email newsletter, and really a go-to source for neighbors as well as visitors. So that is a little bit about Harlem One Stop. But UN specifically, as the director and founder of that organization, is deeply committed to improving the community, really preserving specifically cultural preservation being super important and shown, in her work, and with great ideas and really good plans in place for improvements along Amsterdam Avenue and Broadway to support the business community. And so we're working together to achieve that
Yeah,
with
Harlem
all of you, of course. It's
I love Harlem One Stop. And then also, what on along Amsterdam Avenue, you were talking about some of the 311 complaints. Are there specific locations y'all have been calling in about, or is it just the lighting issue all along Amsterdam Avenue?
Yeah, well, kind of both, right? Amsterdam Avenue, there's some things about it that make it a little darker, and some of the, in my opinion, walking there, that's why a lighting study would be helpful. But and certainly everyone says it. However, there's at least 8, a few less than when we started 6 months ago. But there are 8, maybe more, because some of the lights just never really got bright enough. I don't know what's up with that. A couple along Amsterdam Avenue. So between 130, really 138th, because I don't recall any below that, to 140, well, 152nd. And those, and of course, sometimes they're in combination with sidewalk sheds and major construction spots. So it's just, a kind of just a feeling of darkness. And the business owners, that was the, and to say, UN had mentioned it, but I think it was my first day of talking with business owners, and Faoud at the falafel place. He's like, "Oh, it's dark," and how it impacts his business. I mean, he put more lights up, and it was effective because people who were doing things that were better done privately, moved it across the street. And that's where, an example of a broken light is. So I can provide, I thought I had been more specific, Solomon, in my email to you, but I'll forward to you the filings at the city, the 311s. Some have been closed. There are 2 that are like broken, but it's, uh,
When you say they're closed, have they been remediated, or were they just closed and they're still not working?
I'm embarrassed to say, I know it's only like 10, maybe 10 sites, but trying to figure out, there's a lot of streetlights, and for example, if you go to file another 311 in, I shouldn't say 311, there's a way to file like a very it's more of a DOT kind of portal. If you file it there, it'll say, if it's not the exact street light, it'll indicate, oh, that case has already been filed, and so then it's kind of a dead end, or the case has been closed. So I've gone out and seen, I know of at least two that were closed but are still not functioning. So I need to go back like and very specifically, with the case numbers and everything. And I just so my apologies, that hasn't been done yet, but it's verified that, there's still more work to be done. That's for sure.
Yeah. I know you brought up in your email to me about having a lighting study on Amsterdam or some sort of
Yeah.
assessment. Because I'm sure that, in our district, there are more lights that are in need of repair, in general, right? That you haven't put a ticket in for.
Yeah.
I know that we have similar lighting issues on Riverside Drive.
Mhm.
Also, I know like, actually not too far from the board office, across the street on 133rd and Broadway, there's no lights from 133rd to 134th and Broadway. at
On
all.
the west side, on the west
On
side, I'm assuming.
on the east side of Broadway.
Oh, okay.
So,
Oh,
I think it's,
you can
where I guess,
request. Yeah, I mean, you can request, but I don't know. I'm not very familiar with that kind of, with the turnaround. When I was at Mornings, we kind of, yeah. Yeah, so I mean, a community lighting study, it could be maybe, and maybe Lyle can speak to this. Um, you know, how formal does it have to be? Or perhaps are we looking at like problem blocks where maybe we could look, where there's these couple of blocks that everyone has mentioned, or the case has been on file for many months, and maybe it's a matter of just looking at that range to see if there's something that can more quickly be done. I don't know. I don't know what that is. Other than, you do see some pretty nice building lighting, where it's on the building facade and shines out, but that's a lift, of course, to start coordinating with the property owners, but
know that
in
youth,
an ideal world, we just knock that out, right?
yeah, I know that youth and Lyle do walkthroughs through the district when it comes to like resurfacing pavement, when it comes to pavement, certain street repairs, that kind of thing. I don't know if lighting is part of that, walkthrough, of that assessment. I would think not, because it's probably done during the daytime when they do it. Lyle, are you able to unmute? And
Yeah, I'm here, Solomon. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for joining. Can you give us any specifics on what we can do to, I guess, get an assessment done specifically on Amsterdam Avenue or on Riverside Drive to address some of the lighting issues?
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple different ways. 311 is one way. I know that I guess there have been some issues or confusion as far as particular lights. You can send those locations to me. I'm trying to write them down as you're mentioning them. And you can also go through the DOT website. The website, yeah, is pretty specific as far as which lights in particular a requester is asking to survey. Usually if you go through the DOT website, there should be a work order available once you go through the steps. That work order goes to our street lighting division for their review, and the contractor will go out in order to see and assess the issue that's at hand. But I mean, you can always reach out to me,
Broken,
and I can forward those locations to our street lighting division for their review. I know that Carolyn and I had spoken a little while back about the location on Broadway that you mentioned by 133rd. If those lights are still out, I can check to see what's going on. Should mention that a while back as far as that being an issue, but I thought that was fixed. If it is, if that block is still out, I can check on that. But if there are certain swaths of or stretches of city blocks that you want us to research or do a lighting study, or just do an overall assessment of the lights, just to see, if there are any particular lights that are out. Yeah, we can do that. And you can reach out to me if that makes things easier.
Okay,
yeah.
I'll do that again, yep.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and just, yeah, copy us to Jen, and then, if
Yeah.
necessary, like a reso or something too, but we need to continue on, so, are there any other questions from the committee or from our guests?
Oh, and someone to answer your question as far as our walkthroughs, they haven't
Oh.
involved lighting. But again, if there's certain locations where you think we need to check out the lights, by all means, like I said, let me know.
Okay, will do. Thank you, Lau, and
Mhm.
thank you for bringing
Thank
this
you
to.
so much for allowing me to present. And I look forward to participating and working with you, particularly with reviews as well of liquor licenses. And I will do, due diligence in terms of reaching out to any business owners if you're looking to connect with them.
Thank you.
Oh, that's helpful, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to our next, I guess, presenter or updater really is Officer Cardenas. I don't think she's on. I don't see her on. So I'll move to Officer Stumer, 30th Precinct. Hey, Officer Stumer, how are you?
Good evening, everybody. Hope everyone's enjoying this nice weather that has decided to show up the last couple days. 30th precinct, we have no alarming trends or patterns that we're seeing. When it comes to our numbers, nothing really sticks off the page, nothing of true concern. So that's really good to hear from our end. We are looking forward to next week, the first Uptown Night Market that will be coming back to 12th Avenue, 6 o'clock to 10, no, sorry, 4 o'clock to 10 o'clock on 12th Avenue. It's going to be on the 10th. Always a good time down there. We'll be out there all night. So if you see us, come say hi. And otherwise any questions for the 30th precinct?
Yeah, so Officer Stumer, we've gotten several complaints about double parking, about fire hydrants being blocked off. I know that in particular, there are areas on Convent, 149th, 145th, 137th. I know that you guys, from a resource standpoint, are a bit limited, and it's not a emergency, but anything that we could do to step up enforcement or just communicate to those, the businesses or organizations in those areas, to kind of let their patrons or congregations know not to double park or block fire hydrants.
Yeah, so referencing 149 in Convent, we had a meeting last week with them regarding their parking situation, and they were told that if anyone is parking on a fire hydrant, it will be ticketed and towed. There is zero leniency when it comes to parking on hydrants over there. And as far as any other locations that you're seeing that, my best recommendation is 311, as well as make sure you get a photo if possible. The photo is the best thing for us, because we're able to pinpoint exactly what car it's referring to, especially with our officers might not see the hydrant. So maybe as they're driving by, but if they see that car, they know which car they're looking for when it comes to ticketing. And if you have any specific chronic locations, definitely send it my way, and I can flag it for our officers to make sure they keep an eye open. When even if there's not a 301 complaint, they know to keep an eye on the hydrant at 137 in Broadway or wherever that the community is seeing this chronic hydrant blocking.
Okay, I know several members of the committee, as well as myself, have put in 311 complaints, and many times they get closed out pretty quickly. And it doesn't seem that there's action taken when they get closed out.
Send it to myself and Captain Rose if you're seeing that specific ones, and we'll definitely address it.
Okay. Anybody else have questions? I see Edwin has a question, but I want to make sure the committee members, anyone?
I had a question about the billiards bar on Broadway and. Yeah,
Yeah.
Broadway billiards bar.
3428 Broadway.
Yeah, 3428 Broadway. I know we've been communicating, but those neighbors continue to be quite desperate, so wanted to seek y'all any updates on that.
Yeah, so we have what's the word? We've reached out again to Department of Nightlife through the mayor's office, through their cure program, to have them come back to the location. That request was made a week or two ago. So we're hoping to have a sit down with them and figure out exactly what the issue is being seen by these residents and how we can best address it. So hopefully we should have some answers in the coming weeks from them on what's going on over there.
Yeah,
But our officers do know about it. You know, they speak to any of our midnight officers. They know what's going on there. They're attuned to the situation. So my officers do know about it. It's just, you know, when it comes to nightlife, we do have certain procedures we have to go through.
understood. Officer Stumer, I know that I know that the tenant association in that building has reached out to the Office of Nightlife before. I think they spoke to the director, Mr. Jeffrey.
Yeah, Jeffrey Garcia.
There hasn't been much resolution on that front. I
If you
know
have a
that
contact, I'm sorry. If you have a contact with them, please send them our way, because we spoke with some residents, but not the association, the building association. So if the building association, I would love to hear from them as well.
Okay, I know that some of with the concerns that they're having currently. Usually takes place Friday nights, Saturday nights, and sometimes on Sundays. It's the steady stream of music, noise, and heavy bass. So the reverberation of the bass within the building, which can be felt up multiple floors. What I've been told is that they've made 311 complaints. The 30th precinct has come out. They speak to the establishment. The establishment then turns down the music and the bass for about 30 to 45 minutes, and then they just turn it back up. A lot of times this game they play is just going on until 4:30 in the morning. The other issue that they are aware of is that the establishment does not have a liquor license, but patrons of the establishment are drinking alcohol. My understanding is that they have some sort of deal with the place next door that does have a liquor license that sells beer and alcohol to the patrons, and they take it inside. So I'm not sure how that is enforced or monitored, but something needs to be done about that, because I think that's just a nefarious workaround.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely relay that information over to them when we have our meeting. That's what you guys are seeing.
Okay, Juan has a comment. Go ahead, Juan.
Yeah, I've been asking for the same thing for months, and I hear the same thing. Oh, send it to me, send it to that. I send pictures, videos, nothing happens. There's a refusal to, I don't know if it's to take care of things or if somebody's saying, no, we just look the other way. But on New Year's Day, the fire truck turned on 149 and it got stuck there. And they couldn't make it to 452 West 149th Street. And they waited and waited until those cars moved, okay? Somebody's going to die from that. A building is gonna burn to the ground. And you're being notified for months. And there's a refusal to do anything about this. This is all in public, by the way. So, my guy next door gave up his car because he has too many tickets to pay. A friend of mine in his 70s, heart condition, lung condition. If he needs an ambulance, there will be no way to stop in front of my building. Somebody's made a decision to allow this, and you think you're working for the community when you do that. It's been months that I've been talking about the same thing. Everybody here, if you're welcome to walk, don't believe me, walk on 149th Street on Convent at 7:30, 8 o'clock. It is terrifying if you are a person who has to walk slowly. Just walking the street. It's a shame. The majority of our budget goes to one agency and they don't want to do this. That's it.
Thank you for your comment, Juan. Edwin, I know you have your hand raised. Do you want to comment, Edwin?
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you for giving me the time. Two things. One, about the situation with the billiard. It is horrific. It is shameful. I think that the city, every single agency, to their single cell, to their core, should be ashamed of this. Over 36 months with this issue. We talk about people being frustrated. Who is not doing their job? 36 months for this is unbelievable. I think, and I hope that we write a strong letter to the commissioner, to Tish. She said herself, and this goes to my second question, that Tish, the commissioner of the NYPD, said that quality of life is at the top of her priority. Officer, what is being done and what is coming down the pipeline based on that order that the commissioner has put forth?
Yeah, so over the last couple months, we've been very hands-off when it comes to nightlife locations. That was at the discretion of the mayor's office, and we were told let them be the primary agency when it comes to it. So now that orders have been turned, that's why we're reinstituting this cure program again. We saw progress and we saw the complaints go away for a while, so that's why we took our foot off the gas there. But like I said, we're reintroducing it, and it will hopefully have some progress here in the coming weeks.
Okay.
Thank you, Edwin. Yeah, April and I will talk to the chair and to Youtha and see what we can do on our end to start pushing. I know that when it comes to billiards, I know that Councilman Abreu's office has been made aware of the situation. I know that different city agencies have been made aware of the situation. So, we're just, I'm frustrated for the tenants of that building. Personally, when I used to live in Brooklyn, I lived over a bar, and I had a very similar situation happen to me. And it took years of, let's just say, repeated discussions, mediation, to finally get the bar to kind of change their ways. But it was eventually done, but it did take a lot of time. Unfortunately, the noise, the music, heavy bass, has an impact on people's lives and their health. And I know this for a fact because I have been subjected to it. And it was one of the reasons why I moved. And so I really feel for the tenants of that building. So if there's anything you can do on your end, Officer Stumer, to keep your foot on the gas there, we would appreciate it.
Of course.
Hey, Jen, does Harlem One Stop have any, have y'all talked to this group as well?
No, I was not aware. I guess I haven't been there at the right moment. So, and you said it starts early, so I will check it out. And I don't know the owner, so I'll look. Is the owner's information, if I can be of any help, to just
Okay,
do a
appreciate it.
stop
Thank you.
by. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
cure
Tim-
program sounds, is it punitive or is it
I think it's more from a mediation standpoint, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, Officer Stumer?
Yeah, so not to bore everyone with a long history, it used to be very enforcement heavy. And then about 2 or 3 years ago, they turned it over more to mediation. And now they're starting to try to find that right balance between mediation and enforcement. They had success there, I said about a year ago. The owner compromised with Office of Nightlife. They installed a lot of soundproofing. They They used to have one large speaker system and they broke it down into smaller speakers throughout the building that helped divide the noise. So it wasn't just one speaker hitting them heavy. And so we saw a lot of improvement, especially with our 311 complaints, or over the last year.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Officer Stewart.
Thank you, Officer Stewart.
We'll move on. Officer Wilborn, I believe you're on.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. I'm Officer Wilborn, PSA 6 Community Affairs Officer, and I have the numbers for the 28-day period for our housing developments. We took one robbery in Grant houses. We had 2 assaults, both of them DV related, one in Grant, one in Manhattanville. We had 3 grand larcenies, 2 in Grant, 1 in Manhattanville. So pretty much a few of our residents are being victims of scams when it comes to their bank cards. So a lot of times they're in possession of their cards and then charges are being made to their cards without their knowledge. So for the first incident in Grant, the card was used on 4 occasions. The info was being used without the person's knowledge. And then the second transaction, the person's bank account was hacked on 4 different occasions, and they also received a phone call from the perpetrators. So that was pretty bold. And then the last one was a delivery person's e-bike was taken. And those are the numbers for the 28-day period. Our community council meetings are the second Thursday of every month. If you guys would like to attend, you're always welcome. And Miss April Adams, congratulations on your new position. I look forward to working with you guys. And that's all I have for now. If you guys have any questions, let me know.
Thank you, Officer Wilborn. I know the last time we met, which was last month, March 6th, there were 3 shootings that day. I know it was under an active investigation at the time.
Mhm.
Do you have any more details regarding those shootings? I know they were all in proximity to one another.
So all of them were in proximity of the housing locations. No further details as yet. It seems like it was connected to another shooting that took place in St. Nicholas houses. And since that time, we haven't had any shootings or shot spotters in that vicinity of the 2-6 precinct covering housing. So that's a plus on that.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
How did they get to somebody's ATM information?
Juan is asking you, Officer Wilborn, how does a perpetrator get access to someone's bank card?
So sometimes people have these skimmer machines where they can walk past you and literally take all of your information off of your card. So I know online, sometimes they sell these wallets that you can put your card information in to protect it from those type of things happening to you. But it happens quite often where people are just home, not doing anything, not making any movements or anything like that, and their cards are being used. So this day and age, with all the technology that we have, there's definitely evolving things that perps use to take people's information. So we're still learning about it. So it's always important to, report any suspicious activity that you may have on your card that's not you. Check your card information, your bank information periodically, just to make sure that there isn't any suspicious activity. And if it is, make sure you always report it immediately. And that way that the bank can do a thorough investigation on who might be using it. That way you could close it out and possibly get a new card.
Thank you, Officer Wilborn.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll move to the next person. Lyle, you're New York City DOT. Any updates from you?
Evening again. Yeah, a few updates from DOT for this month. First, in regards to Car-Free Earth Day, DOT announced the largest ever open streets car-free Earth Day event, with a record number of car-free streets and expanded events in Queens, Brooklyn, Bronx, and Staten Island. It's an annual event that's hosted by DOT, which makes select city streets car-free and promotes activism and education surrounding climate change, environmentalism, and sustainable modes of transportation. The event also marks the official start of the city's open streets and public service programming season. This year's Car Free Earth Day will include 54 car-free streets and plazas across the 5 boroughs, with locations featuring public art or community programming, up from 53 locations as part of last year's event. Select streets will be open from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. 5 artists have also been commissioned to provide temporary, environmentally focused artworks along certain routes through the NYC DOT art program. And there are also signature event locations in each borough where select activities will take place during the day. In Manhattan, there's one stretch downtown on Broadway between 17th and 46th Streets. And in northern Manhattan, there are 2 locations. First is on St. Nicholas Avenue between 181st and 190th Streets. And the second is on Dyckman Street from Broadway down to Emerald Hill Park / the former La Marina. And speaking of artists, that actually leads me to my next item, which is in regards to summer streets. DOT will host the annual Summer Streets event again this year. On 5 Saturdays this summer, miles of New York City streets will be open in both directions for people to play, walk, and bike along while taking a break at rest stops along the routes to enjoy free activities and art installations. DOT's art program also seeks proposals from artists for new and existing artwork to be presented at Summer Streets. The selected artwork will be presented as a one-day installation on all 5 event dates. Selected artists will receive up to $20,000 to cover all expenses to design, fabricate, and present the artwork, including but not limited to costs associated with labor, materials, fabrication, among other things. Large scale installations with potential to be displayed at all 7 locations across all 5 weekends may be eligible for a budget of up to $50,000. Any artists interested, or if you know anyone who might be, they can submit their proposals by Sunday, April 27th, before 11:59 Eastern PM through the DOT Art website, which would be nycdotart.submittable.com/submit. I'll put it in the chat. Next, in regards to DOT's milling and resurfacing, our schedule for this season has begun. You may have seen some of our crews around North Manhattan. We're currently up there in the CB12 primarily, and we're also in Midtown Lower Manhattan. We will continue to be in CB12 next week as well. For the locations that do come across from North Manhattan, I usually do send them to this community boards I cover so that everybody town knows where we'll be. I'll send that list of locations for next week to Youth tomorrow, so that everyone is aware where we'll be, at least uptown, for the next week or so. And as locations come in from North Manhattan, I'll keep you guys posted as to where we'll be and when. Next, in regards to open streets, we sent a letter to the community board just to advise of a renewal for an open street location on Amsterdam Avenue between 110th and 111th Streets. It's one that will be open on weekends from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. From May 17th through October 31st. If you have any comments about that location, you can send those to DOT for review, and they will be reviewed by our public realm division, who covers open streets for the agency. And last, it's a follow-up that I had.
1 second, please. Go ahead, Richard.
Sorry, Lyle, did you say there was a change to the Amsterdam Open Street for this year?
No. I said that it's a renewal for the existing open street. So we just sent a letter to the board, just saying that it's been renewed for another year. I was just mentioning the days that it would be open in the times, but it's the same location as it's been for the past couple of years.
Has it always only been 1 block? You said, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I always felt it feels longer.
Yeah, I haven't heard, I've on the permit for that, so I was like, what did they change?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe changes on it, yeah.
No, it's the same one. Yeah, every year we just send a letter to the boards for any new and existing or renewing open street locations, and this one is renewal. So just more or less informal notice to the board just that it's still in effect and will be from May through October.
Are there any new locations this year?
Not that I know of. I think it's the same locations that have been in the CB that have been renewed, but I don't think there are any new ones as far as open streets. But if anybody wants to apply, they're free to do so. I can put you in contact with our public realm division. I think there might be some time to apply for this year, depending on when an entity will want it to be open. But we'll take applications as they come in.
Did LaSalle get renewed as well?
LaSalle did get renewed.
Okay,
I think so.
last meeting, some catching
Yeah,
up a little bit.
LaSalle Street between Claremont Avenue
Oh,
and
yeah, perfect,
Broadway.
okay.
Wow, that's great.
Monday through Sunday, it's a full 7-day closure from May 22nd to October 30th.
Wait, what?
Yep, that was on the letter that we had gotten.
So
Is that right, Lyle, from your understanding? LaSalle Street, between Claremont and Broadway, full 7-day closure from May 22nd to October 30th?
I can check again. I just saw the ones for Amsterdam. I think on the 11th. Let me see if I can find anything about LaSalle. Give me 1 second.
There's also West 128th Street between St. Nicholas Avenue and Frederick Douglass Boulevard, Monday through Wednesday, 10 to 5.
Oh, that's a
Yeah,
school.
that's our Mother Save one. Yeah, that one's another renewal from last year. So we gave a letter to both CB9 and CB10. It's on the border. But that one's also a renewal from last year. That's our whole Mother Save one from before.
Jen used to.
Oh.
Do you still have anything to do with the LaSalle one, Jen?
I don't. I will be attending though.
I'm gonna have to get back to you on the LaSalle one. I'm trying to see if I can find it here, but at least for the sake of time, I'll get back to you on the LaSalle one. We can talk about the offline, but for the sake of time, I'll just have one more thing. I guess it could be a topic of discussion. I know that we had mentioned neighborhood loading zones a couple of months ago, and we did receive a letter from the community board in regards to a few that we had proposed for CB9. There was a location on 710 Riverside Drive that we won't be moving forward to with. But there is one location that we just need some clarity on, which is by 520 West 144th. That one's between Broadway and Amsterdam. I just wanted to verify with the board whether or not the committee and the board would be okay with us moving forward with neighborhood loading zone at that location, or not. I know, just to set the context, DOT is obligated per year to install approximately 5 neighborhood loading zones per board throughout the city. So you do have to install some neighborhood loading zones eventually, in each board per year. We do take comments into consideration, hence why we were moving forward with the 7th and Riverside one. But like I said, we never got clarity on the 520 West 144th one. So I just wanted to verify what the board thought about that one, so I can have that feedback brought back to my colleagues. If it's something that you want to discuss, you can always get back to me, or to DOT, but I just wanted to put it out there. Like I said, just to clarify exactly where the board stands on that location.
My understanding, and I hope you received the response from Chair Edwards.
Yeah.
He was part of that, or he was part of the committee that when we heard about the loading zones. The feedback that we had gotten from the community was that we didn't want to, if possible, not take up parking spaces on a residential street, but if it could be done on a more of a commercial street like Broadway or on Amsterdam. I don't know if that's possible or not. The other feedback we had gotten is that some of the car share locations that are not really being used could be reallocated for loading zones.
My concern about that comment is that I feel like the car share locations that are not really being used is anecdotal, because like if the cars aren't there, that means they're actually being used all the time. And so you need to reserve that spot there for the person who's paying by the hour to drop off the car and the other person who's paying by the hour to pick it up. And if that spot's not there, then you can't do that handoff.
Mhm.
So I know sometimes it's like when people see an empty city bike dock, they're like, why is this here? Nobody's using it, but it's actually just the opposite. It means it's being highly
It's being
used.
all used, yeah. Vanessa, you have a comment?
Yes, just to reply what was just said. For the car share spot that's in my location, it's not being utilized. There are all types of different cars being parked there, including city agency cars.
Then that should probably be like reported, like I do that when I walk
Yeah.
by me and I see that other people are parked there, I call it in, because when that person comes back and needs to park their car, they get charged.
Yeah, those can be reported to the local precinct. Yeah, there's those car share locations, the signage that's there that's installed solely for car share cars. So if there are cars that aren't a part of that program that are parked there, like just other residential or even agency vehicles, those can be reported to the local precinct and enforcement can take place. Those cars can be ticketed and towed from there. Those are only for car share eligible cars.
This is a little bit like minute, but fortunately, a lot of the streets in my neighborhood got repaved. The downside was the car share parking spots used to be like very highly painted and it was very obvious that you were pulling into a non
Yeah.
spot, and that hasn't happened again. And I feel like the people kind of randomly parking there has increased since the beautiful repavement has happened. So I don't know if there was plans to put the zip card painting back down to make it more obvious.
Yeah, if there are locations that you see where that dedicated space isn't identifiable with lane markings, you can send that to me and I can relay that to my colleagues and see if they can rectify that. There should be, some sort of identification along with the signage in order to mark off that space. So if you don't see that, you can reach out to me and I can pass along to my colleagues for their follow-up.
Thanks so much.
Mhm.
Oh, sorry, one. Go ahead.
Two things. One is 148 and San Nicolas. There's two Zipcar locations right in front of that building where there used to be marijuana shop. Right outside that, two spots that I never used, and the guys from the MTA that work in that station, they park there all the time.
I used to be there either.
So the second thing is the street lights. Well, there are no street lights by Riverside by the edge on that bike path. And at night it's pitch dark, like you can't see a thing. So you have people going really fast in their bikes, if they have a light or if they don't. And then you have people who want to run because that's the only time they have in the day. So is that your jurisdiction or is that the Parks Department?
Where particularly on Riverside? Is it in the park or is it outside on Riverside itself?
You go by the river, if you take that Wolf Bridge all the way to the bottom, and then you bike the water, all that bike path from Riverbank at the bottom, all the way to the, I would say that entrance on 158 from Riverside, including the walk, that bridge that you can walk to the river. There is no lights, man. You can't see a
There's a
thing.
ton out, the whole stretch of Riverside Park.
Yeah, it's so black. At night, you can't see a thing.
Okay.
Is that you though? Is that you or the Parks Department?
If you have any pictures, you can send them to me. We can verify exactly which jurisdiction that goes under. In parks, if it's ideally along a walkway, usually that's under DOT jurisdiction, but there might be some exceptions. But if you have any pictures of the locations in question, I can send those to my colleagues and they can verify that for us.
Send it.
All right, Juan's gonna send you them. Felipe,
Okay.
you have.
Just real quick, for the neighborhood loading zones, the idea is for deliveries to be made during the day, right?
Yeah, so I was gonna say to follow up on Zalman's question as far as loading zones. Yeah, so usually the neighborhood loading zones would be in effect Monday through Friday, usually from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Overnight, that space would go back to the residents, for overnight parking and on weekends. The the main premise behind neighborhood loading zones ideally is to have dedicated space along the curb, primarily in residential areas on residential streets, for say FedEx, UPS, Amazon delivery. So instead of having those trucks essentially double park or take up, an entire lane that might back traffic up, on a side street, the idea is to have, one or two spaces carved out on residential streets so that those trucks can pull in so that they can do what they need to do as far as deliveries while traffic can still go through without any issue. If
Yeah.
we put, sorry?
So asking for non-residential parking to be taken for the neighborhood loading zone defeats the purpose of a neighborhood loading zone.
Ideally, yeah, and usually, we do have, there are some locations where we do have loading zones on more commercial areas. In some instances, they might be more commercial loading zones, it might be truck loading. Neighborhood loading zones, like I said, here and there may be on some major streets, but usually the premise is to have them on the side streets so that they're, the delivery workers can deliver them closer to where they are, but still have traffic go through without causing huge backups. So, as far as, I don't know if, there's any concern, like I said, it's, based for 144th location. That's pretty much, our idea behind that. And with Broadway and Amsterdam being pretty much two main locations, especially close to 145th, that location 144th between those two major streets, we feel it'd be a good location for one. But yeah, like I said, any clarity that you guys can provide on that particular location, if you can send that to me, I can forward that to my colleagues. I did receive the letter from the board. It specified more so the 710 Riverside location. I did see the comments as far as what the board had requested, but didn't go into detail about the 144th Street location. That's why I'm asking. So, yeah.
To get that to you. I know some of the feedback we got from the community was that their concerns about losing parking spaces in residential areas because we're going to be losing parking spaces due to the Department of Sanitation's trash containerization as well.
Okay.
The car share locations have already been taken. Now we're gonna, it's like we're just constantly giving up spaces. And that makes it harder and harder for people to park, right? So anything that can be done to preserve parking spaces in residential areas would be helpful, but I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, like I said, at least DOT is obligated, per community board, to install a select amount, per year. So, like I said before, I don't want anybody to think that it's just, certain neighborhoods or certain locations. It's every board, everywhere, all throughout the city. So, it's not like we're trying to single any particular neighborhoods out. But at some point we do have to install a few. So, any comments that you can provide, for that location, would be much appreciated. I don't know, I guess, as locations come in, we'll have conversations about those as well.
Okay.
I think that should be it for me unless there are any more questions.
Do you see my screen, Lyle? With the
Yeah.
letter?
Yes.
This is the letter that was sent to Yutha about the LaSalle Street location.
Uh-huh.
See here, it
So,
says it is
full closure, yep. Mm-hmm. So that is a full closure.
And I don't think it was that way last year.
No, it's Thursday evenings. I think it was just a typo that it was copied and pasted from the previous one and they didn't put the hours in on Thursday evening. Cause right, it's Thursday evenings.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's specified.
Yeah, that looks like a big lift, yeah.
Yeah, I can, let me see if I can get those hours clarified. Because usually each letter, as you can see, each letter has the specific days and hours that those would be in effect. It doesn't look like that was sent with the LaSalle letters, so I'll see if I can get those specific hours and days that that location will be in effect.
Okay, thank you, Lau.
No problem.
Okay, I'm gonna move to our action items. Let me stop sharing. We have a lot of action items. The first one is a street co-naming application for Orsby Butch Roten. This is on Amsterdam Avenue between 123rd Street and LaSalle Street. It is also known as the General Grant Housing Walking Path. I don't know, is anyone here from Mr. Roten's family? Anyone here from Mr. Roten's family? They were supposed to be given an invitation.
Well, if not, I read the letter and
Let me see if I can bring it up. Just give me 1 second. Go ahead. You can talk.
Yeah, I read the letter, so I'm moving for unanimous consent because it seems like this gentleman was an incredible asset to the community and should certainly be honored. But yeah.
Let's see.
Well, then wasn't there something about street namings like a couple years ago? Aren't they trying to like? Oh, I guess Lyle can answer that. Aren't they like? Wasn't there something a couple years ago they were trying to like can't like decrease the amount of street namings that happened throughout the year or something? Or am I misremembering something?
I'm not sure as far as decreasing. I know that, I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
I can check on my side. I haven't heard anything new or different as far as the coding procedures. As far as I know, they're pretty much the same, but you know, I can verify with my colleagues if there's anything different or if you've heard any changes.
No, it's okay. I couldn't remember properly, but yeah, here's a letter and
Yeah, here's the letter. It's in the Google Drive for the committee members. You can see here that Mr. Roten was part of the General Grant Houses Tenant Association. He served that community for I think 20+ years, was also vice president. Also helped a lot of the tenants with fixing, doing small repair work in their apartments, doing minor repair work. He helped throw a Halloween party for the children in the development almost every year. And the request is coming from his family. You could see here they have gotten all these signatures, names and addresses. I think it's over 150 signatures that they have. I know Hakil reached out to the family. This is the application that they put in. So I'm just sharing it with you. The way the process works, to my understanding, it comes to our committee. If it passes our committee, it goes to exec board. If it passes exec board, it goes to general board. If it passes general board, it then goes to our city council member for review. And the city council member, if he approves it or she approves it, then it goes forward. That's my understanding, Lyle. I don't know if that's if there's any change to that or modification, please let us know.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's pretty much a standard procedure as far as I know. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So April, I think I heard April say unanimous consent.
Well,
Does anyone feel differently? Yes, Mike.
Yeah, just a side point, kind of against long names for streets. For 2 reasons. One is just like for people to be able to communicate things, like let's say there's an emergency and somebody gets stabbed. They say, "Where are you?" And you're like, "Oh crap, there's like this 3-word long name." If it was Orsby, just the first name or the last name, that'd be great.
Lyle, correct me if I'm wrong, but like the way they do the namings, it's like under the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's under.
So you would
so-
still say
Oh,
120.
it's on the chain, okay. never mind.
Yeah, but I feel you.
Any other feedback? Does anyone want to second the
Yeah, I'll second.
unanimous consent?
I'll second the unanimous.
Anyone object to unanimous consent for the street naming application? Okay, it moves forward. Thank you. Next we have dining out applications. Now, I think we had one last month, had to do with the Indian restaurant on Amsterdam and 130.
Yeah, close.
That's 136 Clove. This month we got 5 more. We have Le Monde. We have the Chick Inn. We have Oso. We have Harlem Public and At the Wallace. If you're familiar with that area, Harlem Public and At the Wallace they're adjacent to one another, right?
Yeah.
But they're under the same building, I think. So all 5 of these locations are, they put in applications for sidewalk cafes. My understanding is with the process is relatively new. There are new requirements that an establishment has to meet to satisfy the sidewalk cafe provisions. What I was told was that we're supposed to, I guess there's a form that is used that the establishment needs to kind of give to us to kind of verify like how many seats, tables, like the length, how far it goes out. So because this is a new process, Hakil and Yutha are developing the form. We're going to be sending the form to these establishments to fill out. So what I propose is that we don't vote on it today for these 5 establishments, but we table it. We have 45 days. We were just given this, I want to say Monday. So we have 45 days to give comment on this. So we would be within that 45 days if we wait till next month.
And it wouldn't pause anything like with what the establishments are doing, because all of these establishments, they already have sidewalk cafes there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, they have existing sidewalk cafes from my understanding. Officer Stumer still on? Yes. Officer Stumer, are any issues with any of these locations? I should have asked you about them.
We
I'm
have
not-
no objections to any locations.
Okay.
Because I'm not familiar with them all, but I can say the other 4, they have no issues there.
Yeah, Jen, did you have a comment?
No, they're all great places. I know that the dining, I feel like that there was a dining out application, the one that's further out as well, or these are just these are sidewalk cafes.
Yes, these are sidewalk cafes.
Okay,
None of these are what they refer to
The
as a-
roadway, okay, yes, I couldn't remember. Okay, just to be clear. Okay, great. No, that's wonderful.
How does the committee feel of tabling until we get the questionnaire form back from the establishment?
I'm kind of fine with them.
I'm also,
Yeah.
like.
If you guys are fine with these locations, we can
Yeah,
just
they
push it
have,
forward.
they have
Yeah.
it before, they had all these locations have had
Yeah.
sidewalk dining before, there are no issues. From the precinct, I think, like, if we just wait for a form, it's just like bureaucratic,
Yeah.
delay to.
Okay.
Yeah. All of these, like, and the presentation is nice. I feel like none of these are like historically have problems. I hate to sort of play judgments, but
Yeah, it's not like.
these all sort of have nice presentations and seem to play by the rules well,
Okay,
in my opinion.
you convinced me to change, so I will second unanimous consent on this. Okay, so all 5 go through to exec board then. All right, thank you. Next, we have a temporary retail permit application. So what a temporary retail permit application is, if you remember, Mr. Stoller from SLA was here last month. The SLA is backlogged about 6 months when it comes to liquor license applications. So if you're a new establishment, you're trying to get a liquor license, it's a pretty long wait. What they allow establishments to do in the meantime is apply for something called a temporary retail permit. This gives them the ability to sell alcohol on a temporary basis until their application comes up to review with SLA. So think of it as kind of like a probationary period.
Mhm.
We had one this month. It's the Blue Room Restaurant and Lounge LLC, 1813 Amsterdam Avenue. This is on the corner of 150th Street, and it's within the 30th precinct. They're looking to serve liquor, wine, beer, and cider. Does anyone feel strongly about this particular temporary retail permit application? Now, because they're going to be applying for a liquor license, we are going to be inviting them to one of our committee meetings to meet the owners of the establishment, ask them questions, but in terms of the temporary retail permit application, how do you guys feel? Yeah.
My concern is a tangential concern. I generally bike on the bike lane on Amsterdam Avenue and I see cars parked in it frequently, and I don't know, it's like that business in particular, that's patrons of that business or the business owners who are double parking. But that is a concern, like, I don't know if those vehicles are associated with Blue Room or not, but they seem to always be in front of Blue Room.
Yeah, I don't know the location. Are you near that location?
Yeah, and I think the neighbors should also be involved, because if we get an idea of how whether the people are good neighbors, that's also, I mean, if they're decent neighbors, then we should just go. for it.
Yeah, what the chair wants us to do is, once a new application comes before us, we are supposed to put some signage on the establishment, letting people know when we're going to discuss the new application. Unfortunately, this isn't a new application, it's like a temporary. But yes, we will be asking for community feedback when the time comes.
I guess we could do that too, though, because they've been operating for a while as a restaurant.
Yeah, the times are.
They do.
But they play music, they're happy people, I've never seen any problems.
Yeah.
But that parking on the bike lane, it goes all the way up and down.
Yeah, because
Amsterdam, St. Nicholas is ferocious,
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
on 148, 49.
and it forces you into the main.
Yeah, and you have to watch out because St. Nicholas is like a
Right,
like
there's slip lanes on.
yeah, and you don't know who's coming to your right or left if you go really fast. And also people are now parking right on that triangle,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
One of the things I'm curious
Is-
about, and admittedly, I don't know, I was looking at the liquor authority thing, is like, if we do the temporary permit, does it come with like special caveats? Like, say we approve the temporary permit and then we start getting noise complaints right away, can be like a one strike you're out kind of thing? Like,
What-
does it come with like stricter guidelines, or is it just like open season?
What Mr. Stoller had indicated to us is that if we do get complaints about it, not only should community members make 311 complaints, but they should also make complaints to the SLA. So
Yeah.
if they get specific, if we get specific complaints. So a lot of times Hikeel and Youth get complaints about certain
Right.
locations. They need to be putting in the SLA complaint, because if that establishment is under this temporary retail permit, that goes into consideration for their new application.
Right, okay.
So if it shows a trend that they're not following the rules, then they more than likely would not be given. a new
Right.
application.
Yeah, he basically was like, he kind of likes the temporary licenses, of course, because it kind of shows their true colors.
Right, well, and that's my feeling, like, if you can't be, it's like probation, right? Like, if you can't be on your best behavior during
Yeah.
probation, then like, what are the, what's the likelihood? And then to that sort of dovetailing off what Felipe said, like, not to say like, we'll grant this if you make sure the bike lane stays clear, but I think it is fair for us to say like, hey, we have some concerns. I'm gonna give you
Yeah,
this, but we'd like to see some improvement in this department.
Oh,
And
certainly.
basically, we're keeping our eyes on you, right?
Yeah,
Like, so
we're
even though
next
those
level.
two things aren't like necessarily tied together, it's like, listen, if you can't control this outside thing, what are you gonna do when people are unruly customers out there,
For
whatever,
sure. I think we can certainly say that when they come to. the-
Yeah.
So we need to vote on this or take action. What do you guys propose?
Unanimous consent.
I don't have I don't have a reservation, I'm not that familiar with the
Yeah.
location, so, but I don't have any like strict, like, glaring concerns.
Yeah.
Well, ask them to come.
Yeah, we are going to ask them to come, but in terms of the temporary retail permit.
Yeah.
I feel like we should push it through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any objections to the,
Any objections to TRP? For the the Blue Room Restaurant and Lounge?
alright,
Okay, let's go into exec. All right, next, we have renewal liquor license applications. The first one is Plowshares Coffee Roasters, 1351 Amsterdam Avenue.
I didn't even know they sold.
It's
This
on
is
the,
so helpful when you got.
it's on the corner of West 128th Street. It's within the 26th precinct. They are looking to serve, they serve wine, beer, and cider. They're just looking to renew. So, I spoke, Officer Cardenas did not have any issues with it. There's also Fino Corp. This is the second one, 1252 Amsterdam Avenue. It's between 121st and 122nd Street, also within the 26th precinct. They also serve wine, beer, and cider. The third location is Dado's Pizza LLC, 341 St. Nicholas Avenue. It's store number 2. This is between 127th and 128th Street, also within the 26th precinct. And then, and they also serve wine, beer, and cider. You have JLAR Restaurant Corp. They're also known as Caridad. 3533 Broadway, that's between West 144th Street and West 145th Street. It's within the 30th precinct. They serve liquor, wine, beer, and cider. And then the last one is Picante, 3474 Broadway. That's between West 141st Street and West 142nd Street, also within the 30th precinct. I think you guys heard from Officer Stumer, there were no objections to any of the liquor licenses on the 30th precinct.
No, we had a lot of problems with Picante, that they wouldn't stop the music with people.
I heard that they're much better now.
Oh, okay.
That's what I had heard,
Because
but
the
yes,
last time.
there were
we
some
tried-
noise
yeah,
complaints
yes,
regarding Picante.
okay.
I heard that they have,
Barry said
modified.
he was gonna talk to them and all that.
I heard they modified their actions.
So,
Wait, they're next to the billiards place, right?
They are next. to the
Are they the
buildings.
ones that are giving billiards the alcohol?
No,
They're not?
they're not. It's
I
not
hope
that.
so.
It's not them. It's the deli, the produce place.
Oh.
During COVID, they would play music non-stop.
I love the Picante.
Me too, I love their guacamole, but besides that, they were really bad neighbors.
Okay, so
That's
these
so-
5 renewal liquor licenses, are we all good with them?
Just wanna say Vino Fino, that's a good one.
Good
Oh,
one.
yeah.
I would hope they are. All right, so can I hear a motion for unanimous?
Yeah,
consent?
motion for unanimous consent.
Anyone second?
Second.
Second by Gretchen, okay, and moves forward to exec. Thank you. All right, the next 2 are class change and alteration applications. So the first one is La Flor de Broadway LLC, 3395 Broadway. This is between 137th Street and 138th Street, within the 30th precinct. They currently serve liquor, wine, beer, and cider. They are looking to start doing live music and acoustic music. This location closes at 11 p.m. So the live and acoustic music won't go past that.
How big is it in there? I've never.
They
How- what
they
is the-
recently expanded.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
they I think there was a pharmacy next door, like one of the kind of mom and pop pharmacies, and they were able to get that space and they've expanded.
Yeah, okay, 'cause I was
So
like-
so because of this, they have to file a class change. If they're going to start doing live and acoustic music. Does
Okay.
anyone have an issue with that?
Sounds nice.
I don't think there was any issue from the 30th precinct. As well,
They have good food too.
they do have good food. And then the next one is Lee Heritage Media LLC, AKA Comedy in Harlem. They are located at 750A St. Nicholas Avenue, between West 147th and 148th, also within the 30th precinct. This is what's called an alteration application. They have a bar area currently in their establishment that seats 6 people. They are looking to expand it to 15 seats. So because of that, they have to inform us. Any issues with this particular application?
I love that spot. They got some good shows in there.
Is that like the,
Yes,
like
I
the
would.
exit of the train?
Yeah.
Hi, Hi, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I had a question in regards to the applications, because we typically look at the NYPD, the 311 complaints, but we do not see if they have a certificate of occupancy, which provides the amount of people that can legally be in that space. And I know that because some establishments in our community are operating in spaces where the building doesn't have a CFO. So,
Right.
you know,
The-
my,
Just, are you, so you're right, we currently don't look at the C of O.
Yeah.
And maybe we should. And I will ask, April and I will take that up with Victor about the
Yeah.
C of O. Come up before.
Mhm.
In respect to the Comedy in Harlem location, that owner did tell us that their current C of O is 75 people. So she did give us that information.
It was very proactive. Thank you.
Uh-huh. And thank you for the feedback. Okay, so unanimous consent for these class change and alteration,
I second that.
okay?
And see
So-
there, they have some really good stuff there.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
good.
interested. I wanna
Yeah, it's good.
check it out. Okay, we're gonna move to old business. I don't think we have to kind of go into anything real quick. The 145th Street St. Nicholas Task Force. I think that, I haven't gotten an update from Victor yet. I have to reach out to him about that. We talked about the noise issues with billiards and bar.
Do you
on
want to write a
34,
reso on that?
28.
On billiards, and do we want to write a reso on?
Yeah, I have to ask him about the reso, Victor.
And also a reso on the convent, wait, no, 149 in convent. is
Yeah.
it?
149. Elevator meeting, 125th Street train station. My understanding is there's still no funding commitment there yet. So
Which
I
is
know
wild.
they're trying to get money from some elected officials' offices. They're trying to appeal to Governor Hochul to add it to the MTA capital plan for 2025, 2029, but that hasn't been done yet. So right now, it's just kind of in limbo. The 116th Street bus
Can I make a
project.
comment on the
Sure.
elevator real quick?
Mhm.
I think it's wild considering the fact that so many other stations are getting elevators right now. 96, Queensboro Plaza, over here in 137. How did this one fall through the cracks when we've been asking for it for literally?
So I attended,
Columbia.
Yeah.
I've attended some of the meetings, and my understanding is there's two design phases to that project. Design phase 1 is elevators from the street level to the mezzanine. Design phase 2 is elevators from the mezzanine, elevators to the mezzanine to the platforms. The forecasted cost for these elevators is $20 million.
So it's too complicated and too expensive. Is that the problem?
That's what they're claiming, yes.
Is there a world where we could do an elevator directly to the platforms and bypass the mezzanine?
I think
like-
there's not a turnstile.
No,
there,
yeah,
right?
no,
Right, but yeah, it seems like that's a better.
Why
yeah.
is that such a problem? Like,
Right.
is fair enforcement such a big deal that we can't do that?
I don't
It
know.
would save you the cost of maintenance on.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
On an elevator, it might be cost effective even.
Yeah.
I don't know the specifics of the engineering
Yeah.
feat that for that to happen.
Yeah. But I'm
We're
just
gonna
wondering.
think
cost
tomorrow, and I
effective.
think they're talking about it.
Yeah, so there's a meeting.
Okay.
But I do think it's like partially complicated by Columbia's involvement, because it was like they dangled a little bit of money
Mhm.
and now.
Mhm.
Crazy, you know, like,
Yeah, I think it's just fiscal, right now it's, I know Columbia paid for design 1 phase. Construction documents and an assessment. Phase 2 hasn't been done yet. If it's, I don't know if that's going to be done.
Alright.
So yeah, it's still wait and see. The 116th Street bus project, that's like the improvements on the corridor. They did send a PowerPoint presentation. I think I have to share that with all of you. So I have to take that as a, I can do it. Oh, you can? Just, let me finish, go through. But there hasn't been any movement there yet in terms of what they've, finalized. Remember, they just kind of they talk to us in theory about what they may do along that corridor. Then feedback on the neighborhood loading zones, we talked about that with Lyle already. RVJ Auto Body Shop, which is on 134th, so right up here between Broadway and Amsterdam. There's an issue right now with that location because the body shop is parking cars on the sidewalk and they're like double and triple parking the cars. Victor has asked for the NYPD to step up enforcement there because what's been happening is that either people can't get up and down the sidewalk or cars can't get through the street. So we're kind of keeping an eye on this, seeing if that improves. No,
Oh, okay.
Victor just like, he does his patrols
Oh, I
around,
see.
around the district. The MTA capital plan 2025-2029 subway accessibility project. If you haven't done so yet, try to visit, if you just do the subway accessibility projects, try to visit the website, put in some feedback regarding where you think subway accessibility should be in, right?
125th.
Because
Yeah.
our area, yeah, and I put it in and I put 120.
I did too, yeah.
Our area is severely underfunded when it comes to accessibility projects. And then we talked about the issue with double parking on 145th Street between Amsterdam and Convent, with officers doing already, so I'm not gonna go into that. New business, we talked about open streets already with Lyle. So, you know, I'm not gonna go into that. There is, I think Laquita is on. Laquita, are you on here? You there?
Yes, I am. I hope there's not too much noise in my background.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. So Laquita is the chair of the Health Committee. She had reached out to me to ask if we would co-sponsor a resolution opposing the removal of benches in the MTA subway stations.
Yes.
So Laquita, do you want to talk about this a bit? Just
Briefly, yes.
briefly if you can, because
I can. It's a long-standing issue with me, and also on CB9 Connect, Edwin, who I think is also on the line, who is a public member and former co-chair of Health and Environment, and Monica Dula have also, supported this. But we want to state in a resolution that we oppose the removal of benches, from the MTA system, even though we're talking about subway, but also even at bus stops, there's a scarcity as well. And obvious reasons are, in the first whereas, seniors who require seating while waiting. There are individuals, as you see here, with disabilities who rely on benches for mobility and stability. People with chronic illnesses, whether it's asthma, arthritis, heart conditions, pregnant women who need safe and accessible seating, and riders recovering from surgery. I know myself, having a leg injury, that it was important to have that kind of accessibility for me. So, in all of this, wanting to curb crime and other things in the subway, we don't want to really overlook quality of life and caring for ordinary citizens. So, of course, the rest is, you can read and see what they do have the leaning bars, but that's not going to be supportive enough for the people who are just named, that I just listed, who frequent the subway as well. So we're asking in the further resolve that the MTA halts any further removal and begin immediately to restore those benches that have been removed. And I think this is a simple enough but very important quality of life that can be brought back to our areas and even in other areas of the city.
Thank you.
Edwin, if Edwin is still on, do you want to add anything, Edwin? Because he really brought this to the fore even more as I mentioned it and talked about it, and Monica talked about it, some of the others, especially on CV9 Connects.
Yeah, I don't have to add much. I put a little blurb of what was said at CV9 Connects, and Monica, she had a surgery herself. This could be any of us who just come out of the doctor, even a wisdom tooth. You might not feel well, you might want to sit down. There is a whole range from, you know, somebody being pregnant to somebody being 99 years old. This is very, you know, barbaric, right? You know, because we have homeless folks who, you know, they lay on some of these benches, but we have, you know, a society. We have many people who use those benches when they don't feel well, and we have seniors. It's horrible what the city is trying to do in the name of safety and security.
Okay,
Yeah.
we have some questions.
Gretchen, go ahead.
I was just gonna concur and say, like, all of those are very noble causes. I personally, I feel like we should be taking public transportation as attractive and accessible as possible. So whether that's an elevator, whether that's having a bus shelter, like, I know they've been getting rid of the shelters, like, I'm gonna be less inclined to take the bus if I have to stand out in the rain, I don't have shelter, right? Like, so those benches, I think, like, I don't know, for me, that's kind of a guiding principle for this committee, should be like making public transportation as attractive and accessible as possible. Making them safe, having benches, being well lit, all of those things. So I agree with you.
Yeah, Juan?
So one of the standards for the public benches is that they put between each individual seat, they put some barrier so that people can't lay on it. That is so evil. But in addition to that, I have senior citizens in my building who tell me, can you bring it up to people to even put those things that you just lean against, because at least that gives them put on their. So if they're gonna take the benches, at least put something there for senior citizens to hold on to.
So, just so you know,
So
district.
we were, even though there's the leaning bars, we find that people still need actual seats.
Yes,
Yeah.
Unless I misheard him.
No, we're in agreement there with you, Laquita. Just wanted to let the committee know and those of you that are joined virtually, the district office got slammed with calls last week and this week regarding the removal of benches at 145th Street.
Yes.
We contacted the MTA. They said it's part of a pilot. And we requested that those benches be put back.
Why do that up here, dude?
That's horrible.
That's so bad.
Right.
Yes. We weren't informed of this pilot, one,
Oh,
but
no,
two, it's just not right. Why are they doing it here and not downtown?
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. They're always using a pilot project for our neighborhood.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask the committee in terms of any objections to co-sponsoring this reso with the health committee. Yes.
I just like to add a friendly amendment to include bus bulb outs. This is like an extension of the sidewalk at the bus stop, so that those that have limited mobility don't have to step onto the street, onto the bus, they can go directly onto the bus. I agree with everything that you said and that Edwin said, but I just wanted to add the bus fold out idea.
Are you able to add that, Laquita, to the reso?
I think we can as an amenity, as part of the quality of life. And that's the reason I personally get annoyed about this double parking and even police cars, private cars at the bus stops, like at 145th and St. Nicholas, still blocking. So I don't think that that's a problem. And I also like the idea of the lady in the back who mentioned shelters, like at 145th and St. Nicholas, there's no shelter. And that's a very often used bus stop. And there's no shelter, no seat, no bench, no nothing except the bus stop and double parked cars.
Thank you, Laquita. So will we vote on this or?
Yeah, I think we should, unanimous consent.
I second that.
Okay, April seconds it. No
Okay.
objections from the committee? All right,
Thank
Laquita,
you.
we're on board.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Edwin.
All right, next is a reso regarding extending MTA bus service to 125th Street and 12th Avenue. So I was contacted by the Economic Development Committee regarding this reso, and they would like us to help co-sponsor it. They're trying to promote more activity by the Harlem Piers. And buses used to go down
Mhm.
there, but you know, it's been some time since the MTA modified the bus route, so they're asking to reinstitute the, you know, extending the bus routes there. Josh Christopher, I think is his name, I think I let him know we were gonna talk about this. I don't see him on.
I can speak for it. Yeah, we're
Okay.
on the committee and I
Yeah.
was there Tuesday, we discussed it.
I mean, I guess I've already summarized it.
Yeah, you summarized it well. I mean, it's a little bit an outcropping of misdone. Saying we used to have a bus there, why don't we have a bus there anymore? It was a thriving area when we had a bus there, and I don't know how much of that is chicken or egg. I do think it would be nice to have it, and if nothing else, that it has become a little bit of a no man's land over there with some encampments and stuff like that, especially now that Fairway is closed.
Yeah.
And so like, I don't know what the economic impact would be, so I wouldn't say like, okay, we should drop everything and tell MTA that this is like our #1 demand. But if it's all the same to them to go one more block before they make their turnarounds, and I don't know the rationale for why they removed it.
Sure, it's construction with Columbia and stuff.
Right, exactly. So I think it's just worth a conversation as to what it would be, you know, if it comes back with this huge price tag and it's like our one big ask for the MTA, I'd say maybe we don't want to prioritize it, but if it's all the same to them and it's the Baylander just returned the other day, and that's drawing a good crowd, and I think, you know, making the waterfront as accessible as possible is great. Again, like anything that we can do to reduce the barrier to using public
Yeah,
transportation.
now I have not seen an actual reso from them. Did they formulate one? Do you know?
So then we can't vote on it then?
Right, so I think we table it for now. In principle,
Yeah, or
I'm all
I don't know
for it.
if the question, I don't know if the ask was if we find out from the MTA why it was removed. Like, I don't, like,
I can ask the MTA.
yeah, I think maybe if we could
Okay.
just get some history, I think that would be helpful,
Alright.
right? Like, cause if they say, oh, it was the construction with Columbia, and now that's sort of, maybe it's just putting it back on their radar and it doesn't require a resolution.
Okay,
Okay.
we can do that. So I will take this as an action item to ask the MTA why was it removed in the first place. And see if that's something on their roadmap to reinstitute there. Or not.
Busway?
Didn't they close that 100 line? Because
The 100 line still goes up Amsterdam, right?
And yeah.
101 goes all the way downtown, but now the 100, I think it's on like 125th.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe that can go that way, you know, the 100, since it's stopping right there, it
Yeah,
can go.
the
all way to-
BX15 used to go all the way to 12th Ave, I think.
You know, that
Why
is-
did they close 100? I mean, people used it a lot. I mean, they do whatever they want anyway.
I mean, according to the map, it still goes all the way over there, so I think that's the thing that's confusing to me.
Right,
But I guess it used to make a turnaround there. And that's the part that Miss Dunn was mentioning, is that there's not that turnaround
Yeah.
anymore.
Okay.
all right, I'll take that as an action item to do. All right, next we have Felipe has 2 items he's gonna talk about, so I will give him the floor. Go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna try to be quick here. I'm sure on screen, can I send it?
Can you share? Oh,
Right, start with West 145th. Okay, this is 12 slides, I'll try to do it in 5 minutes. Okay, so this is a presentation with the idea of passing a resolution to call for DOT and MTA to do some bus improvements on West 145th Street. Currently, the BX19 is the bus that runs on West 145th Street. This is a map of the area. These are the census tracts. It's 65,000 people living in 30,000 housing units along the corridor from Riverside Drive to the west to the 145th Street Bridge to the Bronx. Why this corridor? It had up to 30,000 daily bus passengers at one point. It's a critical crosstown service. It connects to a lot of subways, the one, ABCD, and many local bus routes. It has a lot of points of interest along the way, the Hudson River Greenway, Burbank State Park. There's connections to the Bronx that are really important, Lincoln Hospital. It goes all the way to the Botanical Gardens on Southern Boulevard. So why does it matter for us? Why do we care about this? Like, we have had, and we've referenced this in this meeting already, we've had a lot of bus routes taken out, bus stops having benches taken out. There's been a lot of negative impacts and negative actions towards public transportation. And District 7 has one of the least numbers of bus lanes. I think it's 51st out of 51st, so 0% with bus lanes. It's really few bus lanes. I think there's just little fractions of bus lanes really, and the bus speeds are really slow. This is what we're calling for. Congestion relief is so with congestion pricing. There's been a lot of congestion relief. Crosstown buses are flying essentially compared to what they were before congestion pricing was implemented. And up here in CB9, CB10, we're not getting any of the benefits. So we would like to see some of these benefits. We are part of the city as well. And so the BX19, at one point had 30,000 bus riders, and it's decreased up until 2023. These are the latest numbers I can get from the MTA. But it's still the 20th most ridden bus on the weekends in the Bronx. In the weekdays, it's a little bit less. But the people are there that can take the bus, and if we made it more attractive, like Gretchen has said throughout tonight, if we make public transportation more attractive, they will come back. Another reason I deeply care about this is because less private vehicles on the road is inversely proportional to road safety. So the less vehicles that are on the road, the more safe the roads are. And so a bus can carry way more people than any car can. And so West 145th is at most 60 foot wide, and we see 70 crashes a year, more or less. And we could do much better if we just organized the traffic. These are low traffic volumes. These are a lot of households that do not have car ownership. And according to the New York State DMV, there's only 5,000 registered passenger vehicles in zip code 10031. That's how the DMV organizes it. I don't have it for this particular location, but there's not that many private vehicles that are owned by people who live in this area. So there's a low rate of car ownership, and yet we give the entire road to private vehicles with no priority for public transportation. So DOT has seen this, and they have improved the bus speed in the Bronx. So this particular line along East 148th Street in the Bronx has improved the bus lanes, but this little section right here where we live has not been touched. And so it really stresses the entire network when the buses don't go quickly. We have some neat stakeholders and partners, CB10, Bronx CB1, and other CBs in the Bronx. And there are major connections in the Bronx that we can access. And I took the bus during COVID. I worked at the hospitals during COVID, and this was a lifeline. This is the thing we can do, and these are the treatment options: bus lanes, pedestrian islands, better curb management for West 145th. So we've seen DOT present on the M116 This is just a reso asking that they present on the BX19.
Any questions for Felipe on the busway?
Fantastic presentation,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was a great job.
You're making the bar really high for any of us. Yeah, exactly.
You go back to the
Felipe
screen, I
is
wanna
pushing
take a
us.
screenshot of that.
Of course. I can also put it on the Google Drive.
Yeah, you could put it on the Google Drive, that'd be
Which
great.
one do you wanna see?
That's it.
This one?
No, that.
Yeah, so these are things that are in their toolbox, these are things that they're already doing. So all we ask is for some equity for it to be done here. And, you know, I've talked to electeds, I've talked to, people that are hoping to get elected, they support this, so.
There's no way those numbers are right, because that BX19 is.
Oh,
packed.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
all
Yeah.
packed. I mean,
And it's bunches.
And I think the other thing that's important for us to keep in mind as a committee when we go to the DOT too, is that. And especially like if this goes to exec or general, is that a lot of people are gonna point to 125th and say that. Doesn't really work that well, and a lot of that comes down to there's a complete lack of enforcement. Along 125th Street, and it goes in fits and spurts, so it's actually not clear necessarily when the bus has a dedicated bus lane and when it doesn't, so anything that they can do from their toolkit that makes it sort of.
Right.
Not reliant on enforcement or less
Enforcement's great.
reliant on
Yeah.
enforcement.
Yeah.
I think is gonna be a better outcome all around.
Unanimous consent.
Anyone
Yeah.
second? One looks like he's second.
Yes.
Any objections?
Nope.
No, okay, it goes forward. All right, next is protected bike lane
Yeah.
for 110th Street.
Yes, so that's this one, thank you. This one hopefully is quicker. Okay, so protected bike lane on West 110. West 110 / Cathedral Parkway / Central Park North lacks protection. It does have a bike lane, it's a shared bike lane, it's just paint. The thing is that there are gaps, so if we see the map here, we have gaps between the Riverside Park, Central Park, and then the East River Park, East River Greenway. These are all places that people who bike will use, you know, the First Avenue bike lane, the Second Avenue bike lane, the Fifth Avenue bike lane, Columbus, Amsterdam. So it's really just about filling a gap in the network, and we know that when a network is complete, it works much better. It's a distance from Riverside Drive to the FDR Drive, essentially, it's a distance of 1.9 miles. And again, it's a safety issue, you know, six deaths in the past 10 years, there's 43 crashes per year. Over the past 10 years, and yet this is, you know, this is longer than West 145th and less injuries. Maybe it's because Central Park is there, so it's a little bit safer, but still pretty unsafe. And we know that putting in protected bike lane, we will see a 15% drop in crashes with injuries and a 21% drop in pedestrian injuries. So if we just extrapolate, you know, 43 crashes a year, 15% less, that's, you know, 6 crashes less. So I think that's worth it. This is something that this is an idea of what it could look like. Obviously, I'm not the expert, the professional here, this would be left to DOT, but this is what I'm envisioning. Bike lane on the south side and bike lane on the north side. And you know, there's CB9, CB10, CB11, CB9 would all be stakeholders and partners. And the bike traffic is there. This is from Strava maps. Strava maps are like exercise and commuting maps. We see that there's much more bike traffic on the west side, but if we had more traffic, if we had a protected bike lane in East Harlem, we could, you know, expand to that network. Riverside Park, Central Park Conservancy, and the East River Greenway are all stakeholders. And this is actually from the Central Park Conservancy. They were querying people in the park and people who use Central Park. And most users believe that there's a need for enhanced east-west cycling connections. And this is sort of like a heat map of where people want biking connections, and the northwest corner of Central Park is one that's is a hot spot. So you can't really go east to west very well. And we have a protected bike lane on Central Park West, and that's done wonders for accessibility. It's also the law, right? It's also the law. It's been passed by New York City Council. It was signed into law by the mayor that protected bike lanes have to be installed by New York City DOT. And we have very little leverage over that because like, how do you get a city agency to actually construct something? But it is the law, so you know, I'm just bringing that up that they are behind. We write to them, you know, we put these presentations, we can do these resolutions. That's why I'm presenting.
Great. Any questions for Felipe on this one?
Yeah, the scary part is between Central Park and Amsterdam. Because as you get down
Oh, yeah.
Amsterdam, it's very steep, and then there's kind of a curvature on the street where there's a really good soul food restaurant right there, Mama something.
Oh, yeah.
Spoon bread.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so all of that is parking spots, so if you're going down that bike,
Yeah.
if you're going, man, that's dangerous, and then when you go the other side, it's very dark and the steep, and cars just fly, you know? So.
Can you go back to the, you got one?
This one. And where would be the bus lane, in there, Felipe?
I mean, yeah, you could probably take out parking here. And put
You
a
know, well,
bus.
you know what I'd personally love to see, I mean, we can let the DOT come up with a suggestion, but
Yeah.
I'd love for them to go two ways along the park.
Yeah.
Like both directional.
Yeah.
So you lose that parking lane, that's also where like a lot of the drug activity happens, is
Right.
tucked behind those
Yeah.
vehicles that are parked up there
Yeah,
against the curb along the park, Central Park North.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Right, like, so remove that parking sort of opens up makes that a little bit more friendly, and then would allow you to basically have a bus lane, because it is a little bit weird, like
Yes.
the buses have a lane for a second and then it goes away, and so
Yeah.
they're weirdly
Yeah.
trying to merge back in. But I think one of the things, excellent job again, that's important, and I think everybody in this room is starting to understand this, is I think a lot of the things about bike lane is that people think of recreational cyclists wearing spandex, going out, like trying to just do their exercise. And it's mobility, right? And so they're even having this problem in Central Park where delivery drivers are riding their bikes through Central Park because it's the safest way for them to get from one place to the other, but it's not the most efficient. And so it would actually take some of the stress off of the people who are not riding recreationally, getting them out of Central Park. Like it sort of gets people to where it makes more sense for them to go anyway. But right now they're quote unquote cutting through Central Park because it's safer and faster, but it's not great for anyone.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say, so Felipe, I presented on one of your past
I appreciate it.
thing ideas in the past, and these presentations are great. Just be prepared for people who are skeptical of bike lanes, especially when it comes to like cost.
When it comes to,
When it comes to cost.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, how much is this gonna cost? Do we really need this?
Do we have, I'm sure they exist, but it might be interesting to like start adding in some stuff that breaks down, like I said, like even Bill de Blasio, when he committed to the 50 miles of bike lane. He said, and I'll even come out and ride with you, but I'm not gonna put on spandex. It's like there's this mentality that it's like just people riding $10,000 bikes going out for a stroll. So if we have something that's like shows how many people are using their bikes for commuting versus recreation or something like that.
I don't know if you guys have been to Amsterdam, but that city and lots of cities
Same.
across, I think, Netherlands.
Yeah.
You can easily bike, so
Well,
if it's
you-
available, people would do it.
Yeah, and like, we don't have to go that far, we can go to our city, like just south of 110th Street, like, look at the concentration of protected bike lanes as soon as you cross Cathedral Parkway.
Yeah.
And you know, so it's,
The little sliver up in the corner
Yeah,
of
it's-
green is literally our only protected bike lane in the entire community board, and that was repaved and not repainted, so that's not even accurate anymore.
yeah.
So we don't have any protected
We
bike
don't have-
lanes in our entire community board.
In the interest of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Consent?
Yes.
Okay, no objections? All right, we'll
Yeah.
move on.
If somebody has any idea, why do you think this community board has been kind of quote unquote left behind relative to the other one?
In regards to bike
I
lanes?
can't say it on record.
It's
Like
got
it's
something to
a-
do with the type of
like
people that live in this
Columbia
community.
or something.
Something like that, the
multi-racial.
color of people in this community, there's a lot of things that.
People are very nice here too, like they're, like in convent professionals, teachers, engineers, doctors. Those people don't wanna get in front of the police and say something, so they know I'm in community board, they say, yo, can you do something about this? But they don't wanna get in front of the police and say, listen, do something about it, you know, and they put the stress on you. And it charges me up, you know,
Yeah.
but people are very nice.
I
They're very
agree.
kind too.
Because in other community boards, well, this is a conversation, but let's continue.
Yeah,
I'll talk to you.
let's finish up, 'cause
Just finish your point.
we gotta get
As soon as
his feel out of here.
the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and I don't think we do enough.
There you
We
go.
don't do enough squeaking, yes, we need to make more noise.
Let's do this.
Or what they say, look for more trouble. Anyway, the next thing was noise issues from Hamilton Meat Market. If you're not familiar with the meat market, it's on 136th Street and Broadway. It's on the east side of Broadway. It came to the attention of the district office that that particular business, they use like an intercom system. And the workers communicate through this intercom system, and the intercom system has speakers on the outside of the establishment and on the inside. And supposedly like the workers yell at one another on this speaker system. And the building across the street, a residential building, rather big one, hears this pretty frequently. It's not a steady stream of noise, but it happens all throughout the day, early in the morning till late at night. I think they're open from like 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. So they hear this constant intercom going on. The tenants have tried to ask the owner to adjust the volume, the decibel level, and he's just has just not complied. So we're gonna try to put some pressure. I know they've already talked to the 30th about it. And we're gonna see what we can do, and Councilman O'Grady is also aware of it, so I just wanted to put it on the list, and so you guys know about it. The next thing is we got a letter from SLA regarding a 500-foot hearing for Hex NYC LLC. We recently had approved their liquor license application. So this is coming from SLA. They're asking Hex and Co. to, there's a, I don't know what you call it, like a supplemental form that they want them to fill out. And then they asked us for any comment regarding the location. So, I don't think anyone here has any issues with Hex and Co.
Mexico's fine, yeah.
No, they're great. And I think it was just that they were maybe adding liquor, right? Because they already had beer, wine, cider.
They're just
And
adding.
it, like, that place used to be a full-on bar, so it,
Right, it used to be the West End,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Havana Central and,
Yeah.
you know, so, I don't think there's any issues there. We were gonna give the feedback, that, you know, the 2-6 doesn't have any issues. We don't have any issues, so, I just wanted to make sure you guys were aware of this hearing that's taking place. The next thing is, I don't know if any of you were at the last general board meeting, but there was a couple of ladies that came up talking during public session talking about the bus stop at 125th Street and St. Nicholas. They want to have the bus stop removed. I don't know if that's the
How does that work?
appropriate thing to do, but I guess it's a major choke point there because of double parking, because of buses can't
construction
get
there
through.
too,
Yeah, there's
right.
construction. It's just a mess there.
For another element.
So they asked us to kind of escalate this issue. I think it's gonna be given to the bid, the 125th Street bid. We're also gonna see, I know Chair Edwards is looking into this. I just wanted to put it on the list as something to kind of keep an eye out on, but I don't know if I don't think the answer is to remove a bus stop, right? It's just that there's a lot of congestion in that area.
yeah, and it might be a matter of like the MTA, sometimes they send a dispatcher down. I've seen them do that before where they sort of like help direct traffic for the buses for a little while or.
Yeah. Something's gotta be done. It's just a choke point right now. Just wanted to remind you guys, participatory budget voting for District 7 takes place until April 6th. I put the link there. I think it's $1 million You can choose between 10 different projects. You know, each project has a different dollar amount associated with it. I think you can vote for up to 5 projects. So just keep that in mind. There is a city council daylight hearing on April 21st at 10 a.m. located at City Hall. So if any of you would like to go on record during that public hearing, I just wanted to make sure you guys were aware of it. And then the last thing is, or the second to last thing is, there is a memorial for Carolyn on Sunday, April 6th from 3 to 6 p.m. At 452 West 147th Street. I believe that's the Abyssinian Baptist Church. Yeah. If you want to attend, I know the family is reserving a table for CB9. Just let Yutha know if you're interested in attending. Just send her a quick email letting her know that. I think she sent an email as a reminder today about it. And then the last thing is, our next meeting is Thursday, May 1st at 6:30. That's our next meeting. Anyone have anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, motion to adjourn made by co-chair Adams. Anyone
I
second?
second.
Gretchen seconds. And I am calling the meeting adjourned at 8:37 p.m.
Thanks, y'all. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye, all the attendees.
Thank you, everyone.
Hey, Solomon, I know this was dense with this format.